Hi, my name is Sheree. That's me right there. I'm the creator of Naturalife soap, body products, resin crafts, and gift baskets. Welcome to my channel, and if this isn't your first video, then welcome back. Hopefully, you'll look around and be inspired to drop a comment, like, or even subscribe. If you do, thank you in advance. I appreciate it. And now it's time to get into today's project. Molds, gloves, and my respiratory mask means I'm doing a resin project today. I always start by using some tape to remove any loose hair or dust from my molds, and then when I'm done that, I flip them over until I'm ready to pour my resin. The resin that I'm using is called EPE. I get it off Amazon, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So I'm mixing that up for about 3 to 4 minutes. Let it sit for about 6 or 7 minutes to work out most of the bubbles, and then I'm ready to pour. So if you saw the thumbnail, you know that I'm doing two football-themed resin trays. These happen to both be black. I'm doing one Philadelphia Eagles and one Pittsburgh Steelers. The paint I'm using is just regular craft store acrylic paint, and I just put enough in to make sure that my black is really heavy and opaque. So FYI, this is actually a mashup of two videos, but the process is the same for both, so I figured I'd mix them up and you can see how I did both pours. So once I'm done, the entire set is going to include a tray with handles. It'll have shot glasses and also coasters. I make these themed in football teams, basketball teams, whatever kind of sports team. I do sororities, fraternities, do colleges, your alma mater. I can even do your children or your dog. So anything you can imagine that can be put into resin, I make a tray for it. Okay, so I covered it in foil for a little while to let that dry so I can start the next coat. You'll have to forgive me. I forgot to turn the camera back on before I start decorating the first tray, but I did remember soon enough that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just using some more resin mixed with a little bit of paint and your theme colors, and I'm just kind of doing a zigzag motion. I'm just using a skewer, nothing fancy, and I'm just kind of making a nondescript design. If you'll notice, I left two opposite corners without much paint because I'm going to be putting some crushed glass in those two corners. Now the black is actually hard enough for me to stick the handles in, but still soft enough so that they'll sink to the bottom. Depending on the weather, how hot it is, how humid, your base can set up anywhere from in an hour and a half to 6 hours. So you just kind of have to test it and see what works for you. Once my handles are in, you'll see that I'm putting in the crushed glass that I mentioned before. I got that at Michael's in a big bag. And now it's time for the logo. Now how I prep my logo is I print it out and then I laminate it and cut it out. And then I go around the edge with some Mod Podge to seal the two pieces of cut laminated paper just to make sure that no resin seeps in. Since the black resin is still just a little bit tacky, I'm going to go around and kind of press the edges of the logo into it just to make sure, again, that it seals and no bubbles get underneath and cause any puckering. And I repeated the same process for the next tray, which is the Steelers tray. I let those dry overnight, covered again with aluminum foil so they wouldn't get anything in them. And now I'm putting on a clear top coat. And I use the exact same process for the coasters. After everything had a chance to dry and set, I usually like to leave it about 3 days. Then I took everything out of the mold, and this is the fun part for me. I get to use my Dremel tool. All I do is turn it on low and go around the edges and make sure there's no little snags or little pieces of resin that might have been overlapping the mold, because they'll leave a little sharp edge on all of the coasters and tray. So I go all the way around all of them, feeling them, making sure they're smooth and feel polished. And remember, I said I did other themes. Guess where I went to college? And lastly, I also use the Dremel tool on my tray to smooth off the edges there as well. And you can see I use a gilding pin just to trim the edges in either gold or silver, depending on the theme of the tray. And that just gives it a polished, finished look. And there they are, my shot glasses, my trays, my coasters, Eagles, Steelers, my home state, Pennsylvania. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.